Is on simple interest. Okay, so there's two different types of interest, and the first one is simple interest. And we need to use this formula I equals PRN to calculate problems involving simple interest. And the success criteria is understand what the pronumerals are. What is I, what is P, what is R, and what is N. And it talks about what they are here in the success criteria. Also, there's another one, A, that's not included in this, but it's the pronumeral for total amount. And then we need to rearrange the simple interest formula. So we're going to do all that in this exercise. All right, let's break this up first. So we need to find out what these pronumerals are. So I is interest. And I normally put a dollar amount because you're looking for a dollar sign answer. This one's principal. And we're also looking for a dollar amount. Now, this is normally the big amount, your starting amount, and things like that. R is your rate. Now, we're looking for a percentage, and we'll talk about that a bit more. And N is number of time periods. So make sure you write this in your book. Okay, so I normally do a clock. Okay, so those are the different things that we're looking for, and a question may have all of it. Now this one's total amount, and that means total amount, and it is money. Okay, so if we want to find the total amount, we need to put the principal plus the interest. Okay, so make sure you write this one down as well as our total amount. All right, let's get on to some examples. Because using PRN, so the simple interest formula, find the interest. That's pretty straightforward. When $500 is invested for 5 years at 3.5% per annum. So I'm just going to write the formula down, except I'm going to put a times in between them. What's our principal? So we're looking for a dollar amount. So that's $500. That's what we invested initially. Don't need to put the symbol of dollar yet. What's our rate? 3.5%. Now you have two options here. I'm going to write this as a fraction over 100. If you don't want to write that as a fraction, you can also use 3.5 and make sure you put percent in your calculator. Because what the calculator does is that automatically does it in this form. But if you just use 3.5, you will get your question wrong. Times, and what's our number of time periods? Well, years is a measure of time, so we're going to multiply it by 5. Okay. Now we simply just put this in our calculator. I've got my calculator here, so I'm going to times it by all those things that I talked about, and we should get an answer. So the interest rate, it looks like the interest was $87.50. Okay, so that was I. Therefore, the interest earned is $87.50. Okay, so if you put $500 in the bank, that's how much money you earn over 5 years at that interest rate. So, which it may be worth it. Sometimes you need to put more money in to make it worth it. In this case, you might think it's worth it anyway. All right, let's look at a second example. The next one talks about total amount. Okay, what is the total amount? Now we've got to look at a couple of things. $600, that looks like it's the principal. It's a dollar amount. This looks like it's time, so that'll be N. But look at this, it says it's months. Okay, now what does PA mean? We didn't talk about this last time. It means per annum. You'll see this in banks, and it means per year. All right. So the issue is that we've got months here and we've got years here. So I've got to change my years to months. So I'm going to have to divide this by 12 to get it into monthly. All right, let's have a look at it. So we go I equals principal, which is $600, times our rate, which is 3.5. I'm going to keep it as a percentage over 12. Why? Because we're working with months. Times 24 months, so we go 24. Okay, so we're going to put that in a calculator. Now remember, if you don't have that percentage button or you don't want to use it, you're using the same thing as here, 3.5 over 100. Okay, so be very careful with that. So I'm just going to do this quick calculation. So 600 times 3.5%, okay, 3.5%. And we're going to divide that by 12. And then I'm going to multiply by 24, which is our N, our number of time periods. And I get $42. Now, it's asking for the total amount. So what's the total amount? We've got this formula, which is principal plus interest. The total amount is what we started with. So it's going to be $600 because that's what we started with, plus 42, which equals 642 is our total amount. Okay, let's go to the next example. It says find the principal. Now this goes back to the success criteria here, and I'll talk about it really soon. To find the principal, we need to rearrange this formula to get P as a subject. So I'm just going to write that down. And the way we do it is I'm going to divide by Rn to get that out here. So I'm going to get Rn. Therefore, our P is equal to I over Rn. Now, listen carefully. If you want to get P or R or N as the subject, it's always going to be I divided by the other two. So I'm just going to quickly write the other two. So the rate will be I over, what's the other two? P and N multiplied together, P, N. And remember with rates, you've got to multiply by 100. If you want to get N by itself, so N, it's going to be I always at the top and the other two, so P and R, so P and R. And obviously we've got the principal here. Okay, let's keep going with the question. So find the principal. Interest was 300, so we'll go P 300 divided by, what's our rate? 3%, or 3 over 100. I'll use 3 over 100 here. Times, what's our number of time periods? 5 years, okay? So let's put that in our calculator. So we'll go 300, and we're going to put it in our calculator. And I get $2,000. So principal is our starting amount. So with $2,000 invested over 5 years at 3%, you earn $300 as interest. All right, that's the end of that lesson. Peace out.